And welcome to episode number 28 of the Between Two Brands podcast. I'm your host, Bill Petrie, still here, haven't been replaced yet. Let's keep the streak going. Hey, before we get started, let's go ahead and pay the rent as we like to do around here. Hey, distributors, it's time to wake up. Your clients are no longer satisfied with you merely acting as a middleman, slapping their logo on generic, predictable, and frankly, uninspiring products. What they're demanding is something just a bit more merchandise that feels as if it were thoughtfully curated just for their unique brand. To stand out, your clients need something exceptional, products that truly reflect their identity and set them apart from the crowd they're trying to get away from. This is where our friend Russ Mogel and his team at Seven Sourcing come in. With over 30 years of direct custom merchandise sourcing, they are the clear leaders in the space. And here's just a few reasons why you need to partner with Seven Sourcing on custom merch. They have established relationships with vetted and trusted factories. They ensure all merchandise passes a rigorous quality control check by an accredited third-party partner. They comply with and frequently exceed industry standards, manufacturing requirements, and product safety regulations. They manage every single part of logistics and communicate through every single step of the process. In other words, with their expertise, they know how to deliver bespoke merchandise that will position you as the distributor, as the hero in the eyes of your client, while also steering clear of those common pitfalls that come with managing on your own. Now, to be clear, yeah, it does take a little bit more time, usually about 75 to 90 days, to design, develop, and truly deliver unique and original merchandise. But isn't that extra planning worth it to craft exceptional products that foster lasting loyalty? I sure as heck think so. When you're ready to I can't even read today. Back from Promocations, can't even read today. When you're ready to elevate yourself from just a promotional products distributor to a true partner who delivers exactly what clients crave, unique custom branded merchandise designed specifically for them, reach out to Russ and his team at sales@sevensourcing.com. So I did mention when I flubbed that sponsor read a little bit, I am back from our Promocations, Los Cabos, the first land-based event that we did. And man, what a week. It's always interesting. Anybody who's ever worked on a large project, especially one in the event planning space, the culmination of it is such a, you have all this excitement and energy leading up to it. And then it's this euphoria of the actual event unfolding or the actual deliverable taking place. And I've got to be honest with you, it was an incredible high. We've done the cruises before. We've done three of them. We got our fourth one coming up this November. But this being our first land-based event, I can tell you that it was more challenging than doing just the cruise. With the cruise, there's so many set activities. It's very easy for us to kind of guide people from here, there, and everywhere during the event. With the land-based, it was a little more challenging, but I got to tell you, the results were stellar. Josh Robbins, my partner in Promocations and also the owner of Vault Promotions, the preeminent badge supplier here in the promotional products industry. He and I got there with our wives, Jill for Josh and Sandy for me. We got in on a Friday, that was the July the 11th, and kind of set some things in motion to get ready for people to arrive on Sunday in Los Cabos, Mexico, at a beautiful, absolutely stunningly beautiful resort called Secrets. And it was nothing short of phenomenal. Working with the staff there, boy, I tell you what, one thing we have learned doing these events, it is so key who our staff liaison is, whether it's through the logistics company that helped us make sure we transported everybody from the airport seamlessly to the resort and back when the event was over, or at the place itself, in this case, Secrets. They were stellar, and it was a great communication throughout the entire process. We had everybody arrive on Sunday, had a few hiccups with flights being changed, flights being canceled, flights being delayed. That's to be expected. But Josh and I were able to get up there and greet, I think, just about everybody that made it in, which was, we thought, a nice touch. And we all retreated to the infinity pool overlooking the Pacific Ocean before our first round robin dinner on Sunday night. And those are always great. And we had this wonderful space. If you've seen any of the pictures, if you know how stunning it was, but we had this beautiful deck. It was called the Barracuda deck, overlooking the Pacific Ocean with these giant 10, 15-foot crashing waves, not only seeing them, but sounding in the background. So it really created an epic atmosphere for round robin dinners. Then we had our usual one-on-one meetings where we did quick kind of speed dating to make sure every distributor and every supplier got a chance to at least meet intentionally for 15 to 20 minutes. And that was Monday morning. And then we kind of started chilling. And what's so interesting about these events, it's something I know I worry about, and I know Josh kind of stresses over. We both stress over this. How do we make sure that the group stays a group and people don't splinter off? And I got to tell you, it happens organically and it's truly amazing. Part of it is I truly believe it's never too big. We limit the size of the event to a very specific number because we feel bigger than that number, it will start getting clicky. It didn't happen again, and it was wonderful. So we would move from one pool to the other and take over this bar, and that's one of the things we do as well. We have an app for the event, and we drive push notifications. We intentionally plan where we're going to meet before dinner. We give people a warning before dinner is supposed to start, and kind of help people know where they want, know where they should be. It has the agenda in the app as well. And so we did that, did another round robin dinner on Monday night before heading out Tuesday. And Tuesday was fantastic. We went, took a transportation to Cabo San Lucas, the marina there. It was about a 40-minute drive on the bus, and got on our own private boat, just the Promocations group. And we went to go see the Cabo Arch, went snorkeling. It was about a 3 hour tour, had lunch on board, which was fantastic. And tacos they made right on board, and had some cocktails, and it was truly wonderful. And then for the first time, we actually had gotten some feedback at previous events. Hey, we'd like a free night. We'd like a free night. Something I'm not going to speak for Josh because we've talked about this, but I don't remember his response, to be honest with you. But I've always been a little nervous about, because again, we want to make sure as much as possible people stay as a group. But we said, yeah, do what you want to do, and we encourage people to dine with some distributors and suppliers, so on and so forth. And that's exactly what people did. People formed groups of 6 and 8 and 10 and went to different restaurants on the resort property. A couple people went off campus, but it was truly phenomenal. Wednesday, we had our first Cabo Olympics. That was an interesting little three-part competitive event. It was hotter than anything. Hottest I've been since the promo queue, the infamous promo queue on June the 30th of 2023, when it was boiling here in Nashville, and we had a barbecue cookout, and we were outside for 14 straight hours standing over fire. So you can imagine how hot that was, and then you had the humidity, and it was miserable. But it was hot that morning, and people had a great time. The pictures, my wife actually took most of the pictures, were just phenomenal. And Team Shapenko won, and then we all retreated to the main pool and hung out at the swim up pool bar for hours. And I was quite literally floating from one group to the other. And the conversations people were having were so intentional about building a better business, working better and more collaboratively, what they could do to foster their own growth as well as the people they were talking to. It was this, again, it happens at every Promocations event. It starts out as a group of people who mostly, some know each other, but it's not, the whole group doesn't know each other. And it leaves this mob. And I mean that in the best possible way. Wednesday night, we had our closing dinner, which was always a blast. And then Thursday morning, it was time for almost everybody to go home. A couple of people stayed back to enjoy a little rest and relaxation. Josh and I were absolutely part of that. Um, but yeah, it was a phenomenal event. And I'm so, it's so exhausting at the end. Josh and I are always just beat after that, just fried. But the amount of pride we both feel in having an event like that where people come together and people leave with these lasting bonds, and it's so, your heart is so full. I could get emotional about it just talking about it, but man, it was truly amazing. I got back on Saturday, the 19th, and I'm recording this on the 21st Monday before I head over to ASI Chicago. So no rest for the weary, that's for sure. Um, like I said, I'm always exhausted after, but it's so worth it. Man, it's so worth it. For the first time, we had distributors paying to go. We had Matt Shukart and his lovely wife Jenny from Advertising Premium Sales. We had Shannon Thompson and his bride Erin from Oklahoma Promo, and we had Michelle Harris from Karst paying their way to be part of this event because they've experienced it before and they know the value of it. I cannot even express in words how awesome that felt, that they believe in the vision Josh and I have and the way we execute it to the point where they're willing to shell out their hard-earned dollars to do that. So thank you to them. And it's true, I wrote a couple notes here. I'm going to look real quick. Danny Rosen once said, at least where I don't know if he heard it somewhere else, but I always attribute it to him. Social media is a place where a handshake turns into a hug. And I couldn't agree more. I always say Promocations is an event where, boy, that handshake in the beginning, nice to meet you, turns into the tightest hug at the end of those 4 or 5 days. You make friends for life, and you make partner business associates for life. It's pretty amazing. Heck, even David Glenn, who is from Coaster Stone, who's a sponsor on the trip, couldn't make it due to an issue with his back. He got an order from people. We had a little presentation. He did a video for people to see during the one-on-one meetings. He had an order right when we got back. So that were actually while we were still in Cabo. So that was pretty cool. Um, so it's a really interesting. And like I said, we do have a promo cruise coming up November 3rd on to 2025. I don't want this to be a commercial, but we do have a couple supplier spots. We've just decided to go ahead and open up a couple more. So we have a few supplier spots left and also some distributors if you want to pay to go. You can email us at relax@promocations.com. But I may be exhausted, but man, I kind of am floating. So if you see me in Chicago this week, or if you saw me, I guess when this drops, if you saw me past tense, um, you probably saw that I was pretty damn pumped about it. Hey, something else I'm pumped about. Many people know how to build a business, but few understand not only when to sell that business, but the process involved to ensure that you find the right partner to maximize the return on your investment. And this is where you need an expert, especially one in the branded merchandise space that will help you, which is where our good pals over at Certified Marketing Consultants come in. Jamie Watson and her team quite literally have decades of experience facilitating private company sales in the branded merchandise space. Now, to help you evaluate if it's time to sell your business, reach out to Certified Marketing Consultants at info@certifiedmarketing.com for a confidential discussion today. All right, I think that's enough of my very top of mind, no real notes kick off to this podcast. Let's go ahead and get to our guest. Oh, my first guest needs absolutely no introduction, but you know what? I like wasting people's time, her time, my time, and clearly your time. She resides in Georgia with her husband, Chris, and daughter, Caitlin. She is the CRO, that's Chief Revenue Officer, for those of you scoring at home, of Top 40 distributor Kaeser and Blair, and oversees all sales, marketing, publishing, and supplier relations. Big job. When she's not working, she loves cooking, interior design, travel, and spending time with her family. She's about to begin her 30th year in the industry and has spent time on both the supplier and distributor sides of top 40 industry organizations. This experience has given her great insight on how to work with all sides for mutual benefit and growth. She loves learning about new products and ideas, so she's able to share examples with her team. She feels if she doesn't make a difference in someone's day, her job is not complete. Please join me in welcoming the lovely and talented Liza Sachs. Liza, thank you so much for jumping in to
Hi.
do this. Thank you. Uh,
Thanks.
yeah, she knows, and I know, but you don't. We had a last minute cancellation, and I have committed to doing this weekly. So Liza was kind enough to jump in. So Liza, thank you for doing the jump in.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here, Bill.
Awesome. So you might have something you want to talk about. If not, we can go for the 5 easy questions. It's up to you.
I put together some quick thoughts that I had just to maybe learn a little bit more about you as we
Okay.
all want to know more about Bill out here in the
Yep.
world. Um, so sometimes like I go for walks in the morning and sometimes I think of just random thoughts that come into my head. And one of the things I always say to myself, if I was going to make a podcast, I think it would be about the things in life I didn't know that were a big deal until they were. Right. Like,
Okay.
so for me, I think there's like all these different lessons we go through. Like, before I had my daughter, like daycare. I had no, like, it's just like there's businesses that we don't know, whole industries. I mean,
Sure.
I thought like when I moved into my house, I had no idea like what a pain in the butt, like having a beautiful lawn is, things like that.
Right.
Making school lunches, that one hit me like a box. Like it just hit me in the face when my daughter started school. I had to make lunches every day. So I was just curious, Bill, like what are the things in your life that you kind of didn't realize were such a big deal until they were?
Ooh, boy, that's a tough question. I kind of knew it was where you were going when you were doing a little preamble there, and so I'm trying to think while I'm listening to you, and I'm so many things. It's
Yeah.
almost overwhelming. I think I'll go a little more personal than professional. Personally, I don't think I realized until I had kids how important time was in being present. I used to believe fervently I can do six things at once and do them all very effectively. But when we had our twins, some almost 23 years ago, it made me stop and realize that, my attention, my focus on them absolutely had a dramatic impact on them and how whether it was behavior, whether it was engagement, whether it was just the way they looked at me. And that taught me a very valuable lesson that I've tried to carry on in my professional life is when I'm having a conversation with someone, I try not to look at my phone. I'm not always successful at that, but I try not to look at my phone. I try to really make that person feel as if they are the most important person in the world in that moment, because in my mind, they are. So that's one thing I did. Uh, Cooking. I love to cook, much like you. I absolutely love to cook. But I didn't know how much I needed to learn how to cook until I made some very shitty food. So I used to, I joke, because people come and enjoy, I do a lot of cooking outside and smoke meat, and they're like, man, this is so good. How'd you learn how to do it? Well, I made a lot of shitty barbecue. That's how I did it. On the professional side, I'm gonna say attention to detail. Um, I probably for longer than I
A
would
good
care to
one.
admit. Yeah, I think for longer than I would care to admit on the professional side, I lived in the world of good enough.
You're
And
checking the
there,
box, you're done with that. Yeah, move on.
right,
Hmm.
doing just a little bit more than the minimum, and making, and not paying attention to every single detail. And what I've learned is that's really where the difference from good to great is. And so there's no such thing as perfection. I don't believe in perfection. It just doesn't exist. But there's a place between good enough and perfection where things get done. And I learned that the details help you get from closer to perfection and further away from good enough.
No, I
So
agree
those are the
with that.
immediate ones that those are the immediate ones top pop in mind. What about you? Do you want to share one?
Well, no, I agree with that last subject that you had as far as like I think we all work so hard. We're all having so many different tasks that we're multitasking all the time. Like, and my kind of viewpoint is you just have to do the very best that you can. And when you can't do any more, like you can't feel bad about it,
Yeah,
right? Like it's just
absolutely.
there's so much to get done in a day, but I mean, there's also that balance. Like, your kids are out of
Right.
school, but like you still need to like give them time. You have to spend time with your wife. I've got a daughter who's in high school, my husband. So, I try to just do the very best I can in that balance. And when I can't do any more, I try to be able to just turn things off, which I don't know that I
Yeah.
did that as much in my younger years. Like, think we found ourselves like working in all hours. And now I have my office, I close the door. I'm like, I'm not going upstairs after a certain point because you do need to focus on your family.
That's a very interesting one. I don't think I learned it until probably 2, 3, 4 years ago, especially running my own business. There's never time off. There's
Yeah,
always something to
working
do.
from home, you're always at the office.
Right. And you have
Mhm.
similar thing. You work from home, so you don't get to like shut the door and leave an office. That's why getting an office here in Franklin, which normally, Matt, I do the podcast from home because my internet's just a little more stable.
Yeah.
But I like going to the office and coming home at the end of the day. And the other thing is these miracle devices, these cell phones that we have are absolutely shackles. And
Yeah.
I have systematically tried to unshackle myself. Then one of the things I do that I think people find bizarre when I tell them is I do not have email notifications, work email notifications on my phone. I get email, work email on my phone, but I check it because I used to tell my kids because they're so hyper responsive because oh my gosh, somebody's texting me. I'm sorry, I got to interrupt
Yeah.
the conversation you and I are having because somebody's texting me. These devices are for this, like my cell phone is for my convenience, nobody else's. It's for me when I
Mhm.
want to check things. And it's, I will tell you, just that one change of not having work email notifications pop up on my phone has given me such peace of mind of just
Mhm.
turning it off when I need to because I don't want to burn out and I do worry about that. And I wouldn't think any of my clients would say I'm not responsive. I am very responsive. I still check it often, even when I'm not working,
Yeah.
but it's on my schedule. It's not that hyper, okay, I'm in the middle. Oh, okay, I guess I'll look. It's more of like, oh, I haven't checked email in a while. I wonder if anything's going on, which I love.
Well, that's probably a smart idea. I was took Friday off and I was with my family at Dollywood and I was online for the rides answering emails on questions for work and yeah, so I probably do need to take a little bit of that advice when you're off. So, but
Absolutely. Do you have anything
okay.
else you want to talk about, or are we jumping
Um,
into the
well,
questions?
I had one other subject because I was so intrigued. I try to listen to your podcast whenever I can. As I said, I go for walks in the morning and I try to, 6 a.m. I put on my bill whenever the new ones come out, or I catch up if I missed a few. And you had Terry McGuire on a few
I
weeks ago,
did.
who I had the opportunity to work with when I was at Halo, and obviously admire him. And he had a comment like, and it just kind of hit me in the face as you and he were speaking, and I just found it very interesting. He said, the days and weeks don't teach you, only the years can teach you. There's a
Hmm.
huge difference between knowledge and wisdom. The only way you obtain wisdom is by gaining knowledge over many, many years through experiences. So I feel like in management, we surround ourselves with people that, share that. Like, who in your career has
Hmm.
helped get you to the point that
Oh,
you've gained your knowledge and wisdom and made you a better person? Like who are those, like maybe your
yeah,
mentors? I know you've mentored many people.
so many, Liza. Seriously,
Yeah. I think that's the
I
best thing about our industry. And like that's I feel like
yeah,
I'm the person I am because of the people that
one
in the
thousand
30
percent.
years I've had it work with.
Yeah, yeah, and in the I always hate questions like this because I know I'll miss somebody, but I'll just say the people that come to mind: Mark and Catherine Graham.
Hmm.
Very instrumental when I wanted to go out on my own. And in Mark, especially, Catherine to an extent too, but Mark especially said, you're going to regret the day you asked me to help you because I'm going to whip your ass. And he did. And it was a good thing. It was a really good thing.
Hmm.
So, Mark and Catherine Graham for sure. Terry McGuire, you mentioned Terry.
Yeah.
Terry and I went through absolute wars together at Halo through the bankruptcy and things like that. If you want to listen to that podcast, episode number 22 of the Between Two Brands podcast, just go back a few episodes.
It was a good one.
Um,
That one I loved.
but we
That one, Danny Rosen was good too.
yeah, and Danny's another one.
Hmm.
Terry McGuire, I learned a lot about patience from Terry. From Danny Rosen, I learned about a lot about compassion and always
Yeah.
leading with your heart. Dana Geiger comes to mind. Dana Geiger has taught me so many things about being considerate and working amongst a group to make sure that the group feels part of the decision. She
Mhm.
helped me become a better leader, so I learned a lot about leadership from her. Kirby
Adore her.
Hasseman, yeah, Kirby. I've worked with Kirby for years on a podcast, and we've done a lot of things. He's really helped me hone my version of an entrepreneurial spirit and what my vision was. And then I'd
Hmm.
be remiss if I didn't mention Josh Robbins. Josh Robbins,
Yeah.
owner of Vault, he's my partner in Promocations, but he also helped kind of financially get Brandivate off the ground 5 years ago. I wouldn't be here without him. And then he's also taught me how to make money. And as much as we don't like
That's a
talking
good
about
thing.
that,
Yeah, that's why we
you
do
got to
it.
make money.
We have
I,
mortgages, things like that.
yeah, but he's taught, one of the, and if you listen to all of the people who have touched my life from a mentoring perspective, either intentionally or unintentionally, there are little bits of me and that becomes me. And just like you said, and so there's so many people and I know I'm leaving people out, so I'm sorry. I stink and I'm sorry, but I don't practice and I don't get the questions in advance. So. What about you? Is there anybody you want to mention that helped you?
No, I just feel very lucky throughout my career. I feel like, the people that you work with, you take the good things out of, and there's people that you're
Yeah,
like, I don't want to be like that. And I just feel,
sure.
throughout my career, like the early years at BIC back in the day, like I think BIC was, the leader back in,
Yeah,
the late 90s in the promotional
sure.
products industry. And, we had such great management at that point. Learned a lot. Dave Saraceno hired me. Howard Cubberly hired me. They're both, other places now and moved
Mm.
on. Jill Sternkorb, she's at California Tattoos. I adore her. I feel
Jill's
like I've
awesome.
learned so much, and just even like people like in the other salespeople and service team members. I've been very lucky along the way to have a great team of people to learn from. Lori Bauer,
Yeah,
she was
that's
our
great. Yeah,
marketing
yeah.
manager back in the day. So, and now they've all moved on and doing great things
Yeah.
too.
Well, so have you. And I think
Yeah.
one of the key takeaways here, it's constant learning. And I think you're the same way. I'm never done learning. The second I'm done learning, I shouldn't even be working
Yes.
anymore.
A
So I
hundred
love that.
percent.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've got
Okay.
some very easy questions for you. These are very simple,
Okay.
very simple. All right. So you, after some very robust work on the supplier side, you are the chief revenue officer for a very traditional family-owned distributorship where you oversee everything from sales and marketing to supplier relations and
Mhm.
many things in between. How do you help a 130-year-old company transform to be a forward-thinking company in a modern world when they're so steeped in tradition?
Well, I knew the company very, very well. They were one of back in when I was the Big Chick days. I was they were one of my largest accounts. I had the opportunity to come up and kind of learned about the traditions. Dick Kaeser, who was, one of the, his I guess he was the second generation, but he was the
Yeah,
founder that I knew. I think it was his father
right.
that founded it. Just such a wonderful man, so professional, such a hard worker. So I think it helped. I knew the basic of the background of the tradition, but so coming in, I approached Kaeser and Blair when I was, I kind of decided I was going to make a move, and I reached out and
Mhm.
I just said, hey, I think I'm gonna like make a move, and I'm interested to see if you want to talk because I feel like I can help you. And I think everyone at Kaeser is wonderful, and the majority of people have always worked at Kaeser. So I think coming in
Mhm.
with a different viewpoint has been, really, really helpful. The first thing I did when I came in was just talk to as many people as I could, find out what the needs were, find out what the priorities were, and really just took it from there. I mean, it was, basically communication, education, like kind of the basics is where I started from, and put together weekly communications. We have different webinars now, and really just trying to bring people together, and keeping everyone the relationships. We've made some different groups, like mastermind groups that talk and we learn from each other. So I just try to figure out something different on a daily basis to that will help the group as a team.
Right. And I can say from an outside perspective, you have made a difference. You know, the old
Thank
saying, you
you.
don't turn the Queen Mary around on a dime. And, but you can see the slow, and I mean slow in a good way. You don't want to
Yeah.
change too fast. The methodical change in the way you think. And I absolutely love that. And I've done, worked on some projects with you, just a little transparency. I've done some work
Hmm.
with you over Kaeser Blair. And one of the things that I love about that organization is that everybody, to a human, cares. They care deeply, they care
Absolutely.
passionately, and they want to succeed. It's a great group of people, and I think you're doing one hell of a job. Question number two.
Okay.
All right, you and I have discussed we are both, believe it or not, we are both
We
extroverted
are.
introverts. So we can
Hmm.
crush a keynote or a sales call, but desperately need to be alone in a quiet, dark
Yeah.
room afterwards. What does your recharge method look like, and how often is a glass of Pinot Noir involved?
Well, I would say after like a show like Vegas, even like the Vegas, I still have to do Orlando and then Vegas. It's a lot. After Vegas is over, I literally would have put like my hide in my backyard with a big bottle of wine and just sit there alone and not speak for a
Yeah.
couple of days. I but it's interesting though. Like when I'm at these events, I'm, extroverted, introvert. I'm energized by the people around me because I would say the majority of the people in our industry are definitely more extroverted. And I do find the energy in that. But when I go back to my room, I'm just done. I just sit there. I
Yeah.
wish I could be more like the extroverts all the time, but it's a little draining sometimes for
It
someone that
can't.
doesn't come naturally to.
It can be. And, there was a time I think I more was an extrovert where I had the need to be on. I had the need to
Yeah.
be the center of attention. And now I'm so the opposite of that. I think that surprises a lot of people. But yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I'm energized for being around everybody else, but it's really nice to go back to my own room. I remember when I first got in the industry, my first trade show, I had to share a room. Like, boy,
Oh
that,
yeah,
that
that was how it started, right?
Oh, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. All right. Hey, so we both worked at Halo and Summit, but not at the same time, which
Mhm.
frankly is probably the best way to experience any work situation with me, and underscores how incestuous our industry can be from
It
time to
is.
time. But I digress. And I really actually don't have a question. I just want to say the word incestuous on a podcast. Now, okay, I have a question. Did anyone like Terry McGuire ever warn you about me? And why was it always followed by the phrase, yeah, but really, we really don't talk about that unpleasantness.
Honestly, I've never heard anything unpleasant about you, Bill. So I'll just put that right there. No, I feel like when I was at Summit, you were there just right before me, and I remember people saying, "Oh, that's when Bill was here. That's when Bill was here." Summit. I was only there for about a year, and then from there I went to Halo, and obviously I knew your name. I think Rick would talk about you all the time, saying that you're one of his best friends, and
Yeah,
Phyllis, she's no longer there, but would
right.
talk about all the fun times because that you guys lived through the that roller coaster period back then, and been through a lot together.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's always funny, because I've known you forever and we've kind of followed each other, so it's
Right.
very interesting. So, hey, so I mentioned earlier that you and I are both extroverted introverts. What's your go-to reason as to why you can't have a drink at Eye Candy during PPI Expo when asked? And bonus points if you can tell me what's your best method of the Irish goodbye at Expo, because I'll tell you mine.
Well, I am the master of the Irish goodbye, and I used to actually care a lot more when I was like younger in my career. Now I just walk out. I don't like. I just leave. I was like, because I just
Yeah.
like I can't. Like if you want me to function the next day, like I am done. But normally with eye candy, I try not to go too close to that
Yeah.
circle bar
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
try to make the long way around.
It's always smart to keep a 50-foot perimeter around eye candy.
It
I
is.
totally agree. I've become very good at the Irish goodbye. I don't think I'm a master, so sometimes I'll just walk out.
Yeah.
Because I don't say goodbye. But if people say, "Where are you going? Where are you going?" I always say, "I'm going to the bathroom," and that's very true. I'm going up to my room to go to the restroom, and I'm
Yes.
not coming back. So when they say, "Where'd you go?" I said, "Went to the bathroom." Why didn't you come back? I went to my room. I didn't want to go back. So
Yeah.
that's my go-to. So if I tell you I'm going to the bathroom,
I'm
good
leaving.
chance I'll see you tomorrow. Very
Yeah, no,
good chance I'll see
I'll
you
be
tomorrow.
right there behind you. So,
All right, last question, Liza, and you're off the hot seat. Between Halo,
okay.
Bic, Imagine Brands Summit, and now Kaeser and Blair, you've seen every side of this industry possible.
Okay.
A few questions. We're going to do this rapid fire style. So, first thing that comes to your mind, what's the one piece of advice you would have for someone joining our industry?
Relationships, talk to everyone, learn about everyone. I feel like I always joke around. I'm like, I'm not that smart, but I know a lot of people. Like I feel like that's what has made me so valuable in my roles over the years. Just kind of knowing you know, asking questions and learning.
Well, you undersell your intelligence, but yes, I believe it is about relationship. What is the worst promotional product in the history of the industry?
Well, well, anything that's like kind of cheaply made, of course. But I mean, I still, the stress ball, like I got nothing
Mhm.
unless maybe you're like a PT clinic or something and working on hand
Right.
gestures.
Right. Okay. I think you're wrong. I think it's the fidget spinner, but it's your
Oh
answer, so I'm
yeah,
going to
I
go with the
forgot
stress
about
ball.
that one. Okay, okay.
No, but stress ball. Danny Rosen will love you for saying stress ball. He hates stress balls like nobody's
I mean, they
business. So
just
does
seem a
Mandy.
little silly.
So, uh, What's your favorite piece of branded merch, the one you collect? Because I find everybody I talk to in this industry has something that they just don't have enough of. I have a couple. I'd like to hear yours.
Well, I'm trying to think. Actually my favorite, not a collectible piece, but my
Yeah.
favorite promotional product or branded piece of branded merch that I like, and I actually don't have one on my phone right now. I'm obsessed with the love handle. I don't know why. I know it has it. They sell them singularly. Like the way,
Yeah.
like I said, if I'm going for a walk, if I'm walking through a trade show, I just love having the love handle. And there's like one with a magnet now, so you don't have to like
Mhm.
be, have it attached to your phone. I don't know. I just love that product. But I don't know. I have so much drinkware and blankets. I love blankets. Like I think they're just
Okay.
like so yummy and soft. And I have a ton of bags. I feel like those are the things I have the most of that I would keep.
Yeah, I love that. Mine are backpacks. I am in continual
Hmm.
pursuit for the best backpack in the industry. I went in the attic when we were moving my son to Montgomery, Alabama a few weeks ago, and there are three boxes full of backpacks that date back 20 years because I
Yeah.
can't part with them, can't throw them away. And then the other one, and my wife will attest to this, much to her chagrin, is Bluetooth speakers. I am
Yeah.
obsessed with Bluetooth speakers and fun ones and cool shaped ones, obviously ones that sound good. So I love your
And I
answer
also
on
think
those.
backup chargers are always good. I actually have a bag of
Yeah.
drinkware right behind me that my husband took out of the cabinet. He's like, find something to do with this. We do not need this. So yeah.
Yeah, we have that affliction too, and I tried to get rid of it. And like, there's two of us.
Hmm.
We can double up and have four.
Yeah. You don't need
Wow, look at
more.
us.
I
So
know,
yeah.
but
All right,
sometimes some are better.
I know. Last one. What have you done with all your old branded apparel from companies of the past, and was it absolutely necessary to set them on fire?
I would like to set some of those original ones on fire. Back in the day when I started in the industry in 1996, the first trade show I went to, like they didn't have female apparel at that point.
No.
They had the male version in a size small that was so awkwardly fit with some like big ugly
Yeah.
logo that was ginormous. It was just so horrible, horrible, horrible. But I'm also pretty sure there are people in Georgia walking around that got a bunch of stuff from Goodwill with maybe a couple various company logos on it that I've gotten rid of over the years. So right now, I
I
really do my best when I'm doing the branded merch for our trade shows.
yeah.
I do very like understated, elegant, tone on tone, something that's not going to be like so obnoxious and scream out
Right.
there. Like it just, yeah.
Right. And I've had my Trail of Cheers. I've got Halo. I've gotten rid of them all, same thing. And
Yeah.
that's probably, I think, the biggest apparel advancement in our industry. And it's such a crappy one and it's so necessary is for years, there was no women's cuts, no ladies' cuts. And I remember when that was a big deal. It was only like 15 years ago. It was like a couple suppliers like, we now have ladies' cuts. It's like it's about time because it's just a goofball polo shirt that you said, oh, it's a medium's actually a lady small. A men's medium's lady small. It was just ridiculous. Well, Liza, before I let you off the, let me say goodbye to you, our sponsor today in Seven Sourcing. If you're looking for bespoke custom merchandise that your clients will actually love and not just feel like it's a logo slapped on it, Seven Sourcing is really the way to go. Why? Glad you silently asked. They have established relationships with vetted and trusted factories. They ensure all merchandise passes a rigorous quality control check by an accredited third-party partner. They comply with and frequently exceed industry standards, manufacturing requirements, and product safety regulations. They manage every part of logistics and communicate through every step of the process. Trust me, you do not want to do this on your own. The industry is littered with horror stories of people who've tried to do it. You need an expert, someone who's got over 30 years of experience, and that's Russ Mogel and his team over at Seven Sourcing. So if you want to make kind of create some wow with your clients and create those aha moments, maybe turn a brand into something iconic, reach out to Russ and his team at sales@sevensourcing.com. You're not going to be sorry you did, Liza. I cannot thank you again for jumping in at the last minute to do this. I really appreciate it. And even though this is going to drop after I've seen you in Chicago, I'm going to say I look forward to seeing you in Chicago, just to confuse
Yes.
the space-time continuum.
I hope everyone had fun in Chicago.
Yeah, man, what a great show. Bye, everybody.